Hello and welcome to my channel and to a ScanNCut Canvas Workspace project of the week. This week's project is a matchbook dresser, as you see here on the screen. It's made up of a stack of matchbooks, but rather than buying those matchbooks, we're going to make them ourselves. It's quite straightforward, and if you just stick with me, I'll show you how. The matchboxes we'll be making are going to be 3 inches by 5 inches. They consist of two parts, one being the sleeve and the other being the drawer. The sleeve is going to be 1/8 of an inch larger so that the drawer can slide in and out without hitting the sides. We'll start with the sleeve. Let's bring in the square and let's resize that square to 9 inches by 5 1/8. So that means we've got to take the aspect ratio off. So 9 by 5.125, or as you'll see, it's just going to round that up to 5.13. Place that up in the corner at 0 and 0 on the X and Y, and also lock it in place in the Layers tab. So let's go in a little closer and we'll start putting in some score lines. So using the Path tool, holding down the Shift key, create that, and we can use this drop down menu here to choose the score line and place this at 3 1/8, so 3.13, so that makes that 1/8 of an inch wider. We'll duplicate that, and we're going to have this be an inch in depth, so let's move this over to 4 1/4. And the next score line is going to be 3 1/8 inches over, so that's going to be 7 3/8, so that's 7.38. And our final line is going to be at 8 1/2, and that's also going to create the glue tab that we'll be using to put this together. Now if you want it to be a little bit wider of a tab here, you don't have to recreate these score lines. All you need to do is go back into your layers, unlock it, select the rectangle, and then increase the width. You could just pull it out, or you can just put a new value in here. I'm going to make mine 9.05 because that's going to give me enough of a glue tab there I'm happy with. Now this is all unlocked, so that means we can now select everything and group it. I'll fill it as well. And we can move it over to the side so that we can work on the drawer next. We'll start with a square again. And this one we're going to change to 9 by 7. We'll also be taking out a portion of each corner. And I've got a shape in here already that will do that for us. And all we have to do is change the dimensions. I'm going to change that to 2 inches, so I can use the aspect ratio, and that's going to create that. Now if you want to do that on your own, you can go to Artboard, use the Snap to Grid to help you out, and you'll see the spacing is 1 inch, so I can just start anywhere on any square, and I'll come down 2 squares over, 2 squares over, 1 up, 1 over, 1 up, and 1 over, and we have that same shape. But we don't need to do that in this case, so I'm just going to delete that, and I'm also going to take the Snap to Grid off before I try to edit, because otherwise I won't be able to move things freely. But I'm going to need some more copies of this, so I need a total of 4, one for each corner. Just leave those up there. I'll bring these down here, and I'm going to start here. So I'll select that L shape and the rectangle. I'll align them to the left and to the bottom, and then I will go to subtract, which is in process overlap, and you'll see we have this new shape here. Let's give that a fill, and because it's a new shape, Canvas Workspace has placed it to the front. So that means in order to cut this piece out, it needs to be to the front, or this needs to be to the back, whichever you choose. But I'm going to bring that one to the front, and in this case I need it to mirror here, so that means I've got to flip it. So I'll flip it horizontally and then align it. I'll align it to the right and to the bottom, and then use subtract. And now we have those two corners cut out. So I think you get the idea what's going to happen here. We'll bring these down a bit more. This again has to be on top, so bring that to the front, and it also needs to be flipped, but in this case we're going to flip it vertically. So we'll align it to the top and to the left, and then subtract. This last one is going to have to be flipped as well, but because we flipped it vertically, we need to do that with this one, and because we on this side we had to flip it horizontally, we'll have to do that here. So we do both. So we're going to flip it horizontally and vertically. We'll align that to the top and to the right and subtract. So there is our drawer shape. And these are going to create fold over tabs on all these 4 sides. But it's a double tab. It's a double fold over. So it's actually going to reinforce these sides to make this drawer a little stronger. Place it up in the corner here at 0 and lock that in place, and we'll put in the score lines next. So the first score line is going to go here, make that a little shorter, and then I'll duplicate that and move this one over. Now this one needs to be at 1 inch, which it is, and this one then needs to be at 2 inches. So I can stretch that out a bit. We'll do the same on this side. Now you can do these one at a time, or you can group these together, or actually what I would do is just duplicate it and then group it. And then I would bring this across into position. So the next score line is going to be here at 7 inches, and the other will be at 8 inches. But as you can see, they are still the same orientation as here, so that means you need to flip this over. And now they're in the right position. So we'll place it at 7 inches, and it places it as one element, so you don't have to do it for this one. But as I said, you could just do this one at a time. So this would be, for example, like that, and you would bring that over to the 8-inch, which is here, or you could do another and bring that in at the 7. So it's just an option for you. Go to the top next. That's going to be placed at 1 inch on the Y position this time. I'll duplicate that. And this one is going to be at the 2 inch. We're going to duplicate those two and group them. And then I can move that down here. And I'll put that on the 5 inch. So this one is at 5 inches. And this one is at 6 inches. We also are going to be putting score lines in here to create more glue tabs that are going to fold in on the sides. But before I do that, I'm actually going to create a tab, an angled sort of tab. So you can also do that by hand if you want to, if you don't want to actually do it in Canvas Workspace. But I'm going to just group these for the moment so that if they move, I can put them back quickly into place. And I'll also go and unlock that shape so that I can now come in, and I'm going to use this score line as my guide to create this angled tab. So I'll start down here and come up to about where that 2 inch mark is there. And I'll just select the 2 pieces and subtract. And you'll see it's cut that out. But like I said, if you want to do this manually, you can do that. Just go ahead and cut it out and then use your scissors to create that wedge. I'll send that to the back. And now I can create my other score line to fold this tab back. I'll do the same on this side. Let's go over there. Do that again. We use this as our guide. Select, oops, don't want to do that. There we are. And subtract. Send it to the back. And put in our next score line. And we'll continue on and do the other 2 at the top. There are all our score lines now, and we can go back and adjust them. Need to first ungroup them though. I'm going to move that back. Select this first one. I'm just going to shorten that. And I'll do the same on this one over here. Those are grouped, so I can just pull them. Actually, let's ungroup them. That will be easier, because we only want to adjust this one here. There we are. So I can pull that down now. I think I've done it on this. Yeah, it's all. So it's not extending past there. It's just putting unnecessary pressure on the stress on your card. So that is all completed. So we need to then just go here, and everything is unlocked, so that's good. So we can group it together. And we'll move that off to the side. Now, since I'm making this into a dresser, I'm going to give you an idea of what you can do, or you can do something completely different. You might even want to make this a dresser. You might want to use these Matchbox for something else. You might want to make a stacked tower, for example. But I'm going to make it into a dresser. And I'm going to have a top that I'm going to create using my shapes here, and I want it to be sort of rounded like that, so I don't want that square necessarily. But as I said, you could use any of these shapes and make any kind of top you want. You might want to just leave it at this, but I've got other plans. I don't want it rounded at the back there though, so I'm going to use a square. I'm just come in here a bit closer, and where it sort of straightens back out, I'll drag that across so that I can use the process overlap to subtract that and square that off at the back, like so. And I'm going to make this so that I know for sure it's going to overlap, but I can do my final measurements after I've got this next piece that I want to bring on, which is a circle, and I'm going to use this scallop circle. Okay, and just kind of stretch it out till I get it into a shape I think I might like. And then I'm going to get it in the center there, and then I'll weld that together to get this new shape. So that is the sort of thing I'm going for. I'm going to also make it a little wider and taller. So I think if I do this at about 8 inches by 7 inches, thereabouts. That should be all right. So that's going to overhang on the front of the dresser. Give it some color. And we can also make a mat for this. Go to the offset and go inward. I'm going to go in about 16, should be all right. And there we have our mat. So that would be the dresser top. I'm going to make a mirror for this dresser as well, and I want to use an oval mirror. You could make yours a round one, a square one, a rectangular one, whatever shape you like. But I'm going to use these ellipses here, this plain one and also this scallop one. And this one I'm going to bring it down in size, keeping the aspect ratio on, and 3.44 should be good. And I'll increase this one, and I'm going to go for 4.5 inches. That should be just fine. Also, I can go ahead and just change the angle to 90 so you can see the orientation that will be on the dresser. Line these centrally and vertically, and then I'll divide this because I want to keep that oval so I can use it again. So I'll divide that and just move that off to the side. So I have this left. I'm also going to duplicate that back to this one here, and I'm going to offset this one, and I think I might go down to 0.12 for this one. Again, it's inward, and we can get this new shape here. So now I can actually just go ahead and subtract this one, and you'll see the result here. Then we have this one, which we can use as the outer portion. So I'll increase that. I go down to 4 3/4. Let's see what that looks like. Yes, that would fit on there nicely. So I've got something behind it as well, and then I can use this for the mirror part, which would sit in behind here. So I'm just going to make that a little wider. Let's see, maybe 3 3/4 should be good. So that would sit in behind here. So let's just change that and we'll see what that looks like. And that would fit nicely behind there. So you have all the elements for your mirror. And that pretty much is it. I think we're ready to actually start constructing this. We'll add some other embellishments and some other ideas to the dresser as we go along. I've got some ideas of things I can have on top, and also for the drawer pulls. Now, if you do want to go ahead and make the mat for the drawer fronts, then because I said they're going to be 3 by 5, let's just go up here to our square, and we can bring that in. We'll resize this, and I'll bring over the drawer itself to show you where this is going to go. Move all that out of the way. It's going to go in here because this is going to fold in, and this will be on the outside. So you want this to be about 1/4 inch. So I'd put that at 0.75, and this I would put at 4.75. So you can cut all those out if you like. Another thing I'm going to do is to make reinforcements for the top of these boxes before I put them together, so it just gives it a little extra strength. So if you're going to do that, then you could just make those 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. So it would be, let's do this at 2 and let's do this one at 3. I'm sorry, 4 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then you can have that, so it could go on top of there. So what I'm planning to do is to do a stack of 4 on the left and 4 on the right to form the dresser, and then on 3 of the boxes I'm going to have this as the strengthening part. I'm also going to cover the sides, but I'm going to wait till I've actually glued them all together so I know exactly how long I need my piece, and I can always just go back to my machine and cut out a rectangle that will fit it. So, but I'll show you that when I get ready to put this together. So in the meantime, I'll go ahead and arrange everything, send it to the machine, cut it out, and we'll place this dresser together. So see you soon. Right, all the pieces are cut out and ready to assemble, and as you can see, I've already gone ahead and put most of these boxes together so that we can save a bit of time, but I've got some of those elements still here so I can show you how they are constructed. So I've got the sleeve here as well as the drawer. I'll start with the sleeve, and it's really very simple. You're just going to fold on these score lines, and then we'll apply our adhesive to this tab here. Now normally I would put the tab so that it's on the inside, glue it in like that, but I want to save on the bulk inside of this, so I'm just going to put it on the outside instead, and you're not going to see it anyway because it's going to be all covered. So that means I'll get my glue out here. I need to put my adhesive on the inside of this tab, and I'm going to use this liquid glue so that I have plenty of time to move it about if I need to. And when it sets, this is Kalal glue. It's very much like that, I think it's called Beacon glue, which is a really hard setting glue. So it's going to be almost rock hard once it completely cures. So let's press that in place. And we have our sleeve. The I have some other pieces. I made these little roses with a cut file, and there is a cut file in your machine, at least in the DX models, for the rolled rose. But if you just look online, you'll probably find some that are free files. I know Jennifer Maker has some that are, although she uses a Cricut, they're SVG files and they are free. All you have to do is just sign up on her website and then you can download those files. Let's, if I can get that glued in place. Now, if you don't have a file like this, or you don't want to do this, you don't have to. It's just a little something extra. You might have other little embellishments already that you could use from your stash. And I have these pieces. Now, these were fussy cut from a sheet of card. So I used my scanning feature and I used the ScanNCut to cut these out. Even these little sunglasses, which I've glued onto this handbag. This handbag here has a little mobile phone on it, and I've got a perfume bottle and some lipstick. So yes, your machine will cut these out. So I've got another little piece here, and I might have another somewhere. Yes, here. I think I'm going to put this handbag along with the lipstick of this piece. These were some I had in my stash that I cut out on my ScanNCut ages and ages ago. And then I'll have one on here. Let's see, maybe that one needs to be on this one. Yeah, let's just switch these around. So you can take advantage of anything you've already got cut out or you want to now cut out. And I'll glue these down. I just made a little stand for them just to keep them upright. My final piece is the mirror, and I've already put that together. So I made a stand for it. You can see how it's in a triangle with a tab inside. And this was the scallop, the solid one that we have behind, and then the one that has the cutouts glued just on top. And then I cut the mirror, the solid ellipse or oval, and put that behind. So now that can go onto our dresser, and might have it just hanging off the back here like that, or you could put it up here. If you moved, you could move this doily a little further up, but I think I'm just going to have it so it's resting right here on the back. Means I'll just put my glue on this front half. I can go in with my bone folder, give that a bit of a press, and I'll let that dry. Okay, I'll set that aside to dry then. And now we can bring in our matchboxes. The thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to now glue these one on top of the other, and then I'll measure it because I think I know how tall it's going to be, but once I get the measurement, then I'll go back to my machine and I'll just bring up a basic shape, which is just going to be a rectangle that I can create the sides for this. So place my glue on here, and it will be the same thing for each of the boxes. It'll be a stack of 4 on the left and a stack of 4 on the right. And I'm leaving that drawer in there just to give me a little more stability. I can line those up like so. And then I can actually go in now and press that down. And then I'll continue on with the rest of these boxes. Right, those are all together. So now we're going to glue them on the inside. So I'm just going to butt them up against each other like that. I'm going to give that a little time to dry, but in the meantime I'm going to also find out how tall this is. And it is just shy of 4 3/4. So that's pretty close. So what I'll do is I'll cut it so that it will wrap round the top and around the bottom. So I think I'll come in about either 3/4 or an inch in on either end. So 4 3/4, 3/4, 6 3/4 should be enough. And then of course we've got the width, and I will probably just bring it into about 4 3/4 for this side. I'm also going to measure it for the back. So mine is about 6.5, and the same as the side. So this I'll cut it 6 3/4, and this I'll cut at 6 1/4. So I'll be back in just a moment. So here are my pieces, and I'm going to attach them to the sides. going to get folded over here, and I'll fold it over here. So I'll go back to my scoreboard and crease that. I'm just sort of guessing where I want it. Doesn't have to be exact because it's going to cover it. And we'll crease that there. So I'll go over to my scoreboard and do that, and then we'll continue. Going to start on the back here, and I'll just push those out of the way. Just slide that under, and I'm going to put this back on first. And I think we should just have to do the tabs, and we'll give it a nice snug fit, just to keep those boxes from sliding out of here. Turn that over and do the other side. Right now I'm going to do the left and right side, so again just let that tuck under there. Right, that is all together. So now we can put on our dresser top. Just going to go on like this. Now you can stop at this point and just have this sitting on the floor, or another idea is to put it onto feet, and I've got these little wooden spools here which would make really nice feet, and they would go on the bottom like that, just to give it a bit of a lift. For this though, I'm going to glue these first to a piece of card, or you could use brads if you want to, and then once those are secured, then I will glue that onto the bottom. So let me get a piece of card and I'll be back. I've got some card here now, which is going to go on the bottom, and I wish I had some stronger adhesive, but I don't. So I'm just going to use some of this red liner tape. I'm going to bring these in. A little from the edge. Take this off. And then I'm going to stick my spool into place like that. So I'll continue on with the other 3 sides, and then we'll put it on. There is our dresser now. With all our little drawers that we can put whatever we like in there. And I've got a few little bits here just to give you an idea. Put that in that drawer, and then even a few little charms and things that we could put up here on top of the dresser. Scatter them about. We've even got this lovely butterfly. There is our dresser, complete with feet, and of course all the little goodies on top. And I do hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial today, and that you're going to make some matchboxes of your own, whether you decide to create a dresser like I have here, or come up with your own idea of how you want to use your matchboxes. It's really a very easy project to do, and I think you'll get lots of use from this. Be sure that you are subscribed to the channel if you're not already, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos, which should include another ScanNCut Canvas Workspace project of the week, and maybe even a surprise now and then. In the meantime, please do take care, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye. Bye.